I can bring him in the boat if I need to release him. If we had one treble hook, I'd probably just reach down and grab that one treble hook, but he's probably going to get me, so I'm going to just lift him in, but I'm not sticking him with the gaff. If you have to, put a dip net on him. There's the fork length is the inside of the fork, so not the tip of the tail. So he's like 22 inches, so he's definitely undersized. I'm going to get him back in the water real quick, try not to hurt him.
Spanish is 12 inches.
There he goes, swimming off. He's good to go for another day. Feels like a small Spanish, 2 or 3 pounds. I don't know, he hasn't made a run yet, so we'll find out. One just hit a pogie that I threw out there, Mike. Jim? Yeah. I just threw it back maybe 4 or 5 menhaden off the rigs just to see if they were there. Sometimes these Spanish will get real finicky and they don't want to, they'll come up and they'll stare at that leader, stare at those hooks. We've gone lighter and lighter on the leader material, shorter and shorter on the leaders until they strike. Sometimes all you need to do is just throw out a dozen baits and free swimming and get them striking, busting on the surface, frenzying, and then they'll strike your baits. A lot of folks, a lot of times wonder how we're getting in a good bite out here, and that's what we're doing. You've got to take the time to put those extra baits in the live well, and you can do that. Swing pretty good by one hook. I'm just going to lift him in. About a 2-pound Spanish. Not a monster, but not a bad one either. Again, that would be a better Spanish if you were a really decent sized Spanish if you were trolling bark spoons. There he is. There's that black dorsal fin we're talking about. Right.
Fishing.
A little black tip. Yeah, a little black tip. He struck at it and missed him, and we actually lassoed him. Back in the boat here. He just popped. He might still have a hook in his tail that's swinging around, so I'm going to look before I go touching him with my hands. Mike just came to a little inshore number we have here. It's about a 5-foot ledge, but that's not 5 foot, that's 36 to 48. That's solid bait. Here's our bottom on the screen, and the bait is about 8 to 10 foot, well, good 10 foot deep anyway. The bait, it's down on the bottom, from the bottom up about 10 foot or so. That's a big pile of bait down there.
I want to zoom out on this on a regular scale, and you can see how small that school of bait looks, and how there's not much ledge there, you know. But we get out here, we zoom all the way into the bottom. That way, when we're fishing these live bottoms and small rocks and small ledges, you can really, it doesn't take much of a 2-foot drop, and you can see it.
We're not always so concerned with whether or not there's a ton of bait on that particular spot. If we're going to fish an area, we're going to try a good portion of the area before we move on, and we really want to focus on those ledges. Even if they're 2 or 3 foot tall ledges, there might be bait down there you don't see, and those ledges are holding. A lot of times our Spanish and kings or mahi suspended over them a little further out and stuff like that. So.
Just had a knockdown here, folks. It's on here. By the way he's acting, it feels like a small Spanish, probably less than 2 pounds.
That's about the smallest we've had today there. It's about 1.5 pounds.
You hit the long bait. We're right now we're not even putting one down right now out here. We're just running 3 top lines. We have one real short, we call it the prop wash bait. Our second one, it's out probably about 30 feet, 40 feet. And then we run one real long, and that's the shotgun. I'll show you our version of a downrigger. This is a poor man's
downrigger. No, it's actually good. Most of us, or most folks, don't get a chance to come out here a half a dozen times a year. And to spend $500 on a downrigger, and to have the space for it too, sometimes doesn't make sense. So Mike kind of put this together years ago. It works really well. Taking anywhere from a 4 to 6 ounce bell weight with little brass swivels on them, and we're just putting a rubber band in there, feeding it through, just locking the rubber band on there. And we're going to hang this on the line. What do you do about how far forward do you use? 20 feet, 15, 20 feet?
After you loop that rubber band on that swivel, just loop it around your line there, cinch it down tight, and it'll stay there. We get on offshore today, we're going to use the 6 ounce And that's going to be our close line to the boat, because it's going to go down deeper. Then we'll put a 4 ounce. So we'll have 2 down. And that 4 ounce, it's going to run up, I'd say probably around 20 foot, you know, off the top. And that 6 ounce, it'll run right on down. You know, if you're slow trolling slope, it'll run down 40 feet, you know, close to the bottom.
Yeah, typically a downrigger's got anywhere from a 5 or 6 pound ball to 8 or 10 pound ball on it. It's got a clip on it, and the line pops out of the clip when the fish strikes. You also, when that happens, you get a split second where you got a lot of slack in the line. When the line tightens out, depending on the size of your line, your rig, your leader you got one on, you could snap it too. But with those, there's always constant pressure on there. With those that weight Mike's talking about, where we drop it in on the line, there's always constant pressure. If it's a small fish, he'll drag the weight back and forth. If it's a smoker king or something like that, that line sometimes, that braid might slide through that rubber band. It might even cut off and release that weight. If it does, great. You know, you don't want to lose a big king anyway. So, but a small fish, it'll slide through that rubber band real slowly back and forth. And you know, when the weight comes to the rod tip, we'll just reach up and snap it off and put a new rubber band on next time. Another Spanish, about a 2 pounder there.
We might even run, you know, a 2 ounce weight back, a 6, 4, and 2 ounce weight. And might have just one top line out, you know, when that sun gets up high.
Yeah, that was a short strike there. If you look at it, he actually struck the stinger hook in the back. That stinger hook wasn't even in our bait. Those are small bogeys, 4-inch bogeys on a 6-inch space between hooks. So he struck at the bait and missed it, and caught that back hook. So. Let's see if we can lift him in. We're not too worried about the leader few today. We got a few to take home to eat.
That's my typical Spanish sardine cigar rig. You know, I mean, you can put a skirt on here, but myself, I don't like a skirt on a live bait. I was fishing in some, you know, maybe a shipping channel where it's cloudy water. Yeah, I'd put a skirt on there, but out here in this crystal clear water, I like a naked, natural bait.
And we've seen that if you're on the fish, if you got the right bait, you really don't, you know, the skirt is not that big of an issue. We catch small kings and naked rigs, no skirts, and we catch big kings on them. And a lot of times the guys around us have skirted rigs, and we're doing just as well as they are. Sometimes we're doing better than they are. And it might be more about our leader, our rigs, our baits, nice fresh baits, and just getting these fish worked up, you know. A lot of times, like we said, throwing out these pogies or cigar minnows and stuff. So.
I ran 3 lines and have, you know, guys with outriggers and 6 lines, and you know, I've caught just as well, if not better, most of the time.
Yeah. It's more about presentation of your bait. We make sure our rigs are always straight. We've got the right distance between our hooks and whatnot, so that our bait's swimming, you know, really good in the water. And Mike likes, like he mentioned earlier, is trying to keep the line short right here, because these are Spanish and small kings that we're working right now, and it's about keeping that leader out of the water and that line out of the water. So they're striking baits here within 10-15 feet of the boat. You know, they'll come right up to the boat. We run them real long, and we get that line and that leader back down the water, and the fish are real finicky, and they'll turn them down quite often.
Some of our rods today are, you know, they're full with anywhere from 14-pound braid to 40-pound braid. And this is a 20-pound Berkeley Fireline Crystal. We're running these rods. They're going to be our long rods, and why we do that is because it's real light. This line is going to keep out of the water. That enables our other lines, our shorter lines, and baits can swim underneath that line. And just, you know, we're using our heavier lines on our downrigger or drop to the bottom rods. We use our heavier stuff.
Oh, you just realized he was hooked, Mike. We've got a king on her. That's not a Spanish there, guys. That's a nice king. You know, I mean, it's one of the nicer kings probably we had this morning. He's probably up there 8 or 10 pounds or so anyway. He's also heading offshore. Just the getting a visual. It's a king. A 26-incher, about 5 pounds or so. He must have, I wonder if he swallowed the hooks. Sometimes if they swallow the hooks, get them well down their throat to the gill plates, they really go wild. That fish went crazy. one hook just popped. I felt one hook pull out. On his head or what? Good job on there. Coming up this time. Got him. Not bad, King, for your shore. The better eating size.
North wind clears the water up here.